Welcome home, dearest Brava baby, to Do You Believe in Brava, the interview series where I, Talia Brava, Spirsonal growth leader of the next generation, meet with stars from across the spiritual personal world to try their practices, feel their vibe, and most importantly, ask them, do you believe in Brava? In Brava, in Brava, in Brava, in Brava. Welcoming all Brava babies from across the streaming multiverse to episode 2.6, season 2, episode 6 of Do You Believe in Motherfucking Brava? We have a very special, very exciting guest kicking off Leo season with a Leo. Of course she's a Leo. Blake Shine, here she is, joining the chat for an exclusive Brava baby content interview. Here we go. We do this for you. Do you realize how much you do? Hello, Blake Shine, all the way from Portland, Oregon. I know you're zooming. Hi.
Yeah. Hi.
Oh, look at our color scheme. It looks
I
so
know,
cute.
right?
Oh, we are the fast. We bring the festival home to the Bravo babies. So
This is a good color combo.
Oh, it's great.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah.
We can plan it better without planning it because we're psychic.
Exactly. Mildly.
So mildly. You know, I realize I wink so much, people probably think I have like a problem.
No,
Like,
I'm a big winker. I'm a big winker.
It's like, I do it all, it's like pleasurable enough that I do it by myself. Like, I'll be like in spin class, like by myself in my bubble, and I'm just like,
ooh, hey.
I'll wink at dogs.
Yeah. I've winked at dogs before. Yeah, just,
It's a sign that you really need some when you start winking at dogs.
Also, if you've got a good wink, it's like, it's a tool. Like, I practice my wink in the mirror because I was like, I want to be somebody who has a good wink.
Oof, girl, I don't know if I'm good at it. I think I'm actually super bad at it. That's sort of like my brand.
That's your thing.
That's my thing. I get permission, you know?
Yeah.
I get permission by being shitty at things that I do publicly.
Exactly.
My darling, I'm going to introduce you badly, speaking of doing things badly. And then I want
some more light.
This is how we do in the Bravo Baby Cult community. Everyone is invited to introduce themselves well. So after I introduce you badly, you can introduce yourself well.
Okay.
So Blake Shine is not only a comedian, but also a curator of festival experiences. She has really, in a very innovative way, brought together the festival scene, spiritual shit, drug culture, wearing fun fucking outfits, and comedy, and brought it all fucking together because comedians were taking themselves way too fucking seriously, and Blake Shine felt that, saw that, noted that, and with her partner Garrett, they created Big Fire, which then they changed the name because of whatever, like logs and fires, and now it's Comedy Camp Out. But I have been lucky enough to partake in so many Blake Shine experiences, and TV Real, Talia Brava was like very much created on acid at a festival that Blake Shine curated. And I've also had great hookups and all sorts of experiences. So this is the thing. We're going to talk today about how important play is and how play is actually part of the evolutionary growth and spiritual personal growth. Passing the mic over to you, how did you come to this now moment? What's been like, and you know, you can be as expansive or as succinct as you like to be, but what is the story of Blake Shine to this moment in your spiritual personal evolution?
Oh, great question. I just realized that my phone is in both videos now. There we go. Oh my God, great question. Also, great intro. Just, oh my God, pause up to you. What brought me to this moment? Good question. Honestly, so I used to move around a lot. So before I was acting, I moved around so many times with my mom. And so I was constantly the new girl. And I was extremely overweight. And I was like, what is my thing when you're constantly the new girl? What is your label? Because everyone's looking for labels to define who you are, what table you sit at, things like that. So I became the funny girl.
Oh, of course.
Because no one can hate the funny girl. No. And there's room for a funny girl in every single kind of social setting, right? Yes, you're not intimidating. People don't worry you're there to like steal any power or anything.
Totally.
And so I really honed in on that. Cool, I'll be this I can do.
Yes.
And so what started off as a coping mechanism, being funny, feeling insecure, but being funny to make me feel more confident, quickly became like my power. Yes. You know, my superpower was finding the absurdity of life and being able to laugh about it and encouraging other people to laugh about it. And so coming into LA and seeing there was competition in the comedy community.
Oh, really?
Oh, just a little bit. you know,
just a little bit of ego.
Yeah, and this 10 ticket minimum that you have to sell if you're going to get invited back. You have to tell people they have to have a 2-drink minimum to purchase.
Hard.
And I was like, what is this shit?
Yeah.
And I was like, this isn't why I love comedy.
No,
and
it's
so
easy to lose that track. People lose the reason they came.
Oh my God, totally. You know, and especially because you're like, there's such a huge gap between being a starving artist to being a successful comedian. And so you're like,
the ones who are slightly successful really want to remind you of that.
Oh, what? Totally. You know, but then you get asked to repeat your jokes.
Yeah.
You know, when you get famous, you're not encouraged to find new material because they're like, hey, tell me that one joke that we laughed about that we saw in that one special. Yeah. So when Garrett and I were drunk in my living room one time, Garrett had this idea of doing something outside because he used to throw backyard comedy shows. And I was like, oh, that's it. That's what we do. We take the comedy out of these comedy clubs because so much of comedy is laughing at life and laughing from your experiences. Yes. We're like, why don't we throw an experience and give you things to laugh about while there, where you are encouraged to test out new materials, where you don't have to sell a minimum of tickets or buy a certain amount of drinks. Where it's encouraged to fail and laugh at yourself.
And to do acid and discover your character.
Are you kidding me? Like,
it was not so sexy until I was like out there like doing the show that I'd done before, but I was like feeling it. You know?
Oh, when you're feeling the vibes. I mean, the first big fire that we had, we took all of the art from my living room and threw it in the forest. And people are like eating mushrooms while on stage. I'm like, what have we made?
Experiment, and that's the thing. I love that feeling. So I feel like the thing that I love about comedy is what I love about the experiences that you've created is that feeling where you're like, it's more, maybe a borderline slightly dangerous. Like this is actually contained wildness.
100%.
And you create an environment of contained wildness where I see you fucking hustling. And I know like Blake Shine Festival mode, she's got her fucking tool belt. She's got like 3 phones. She's got like a pager from like 1970. Like
gotta have that pager.
And she's seeing red. She knows every corner. So it's not that you're out of control. You're actually fucking in control, but you create a space for everyone else to be playful.
Well, 100%. I realized that quickly on that if I wanted to throw my own events and throw my own festivals, that wasn't for me to be just a let loose outlet. That's when I'm going to festivals that are not mine. Yeah. However, if I am producing, that is my job then. It is my responsibility to make sure you feel safe so you can lose your shit. Yeah. So you can be on acid and find your character.
And you've got that mommy vibe. You've got that like strong, it's almost like Big Daddy / Big Mommy vibes. Both these. Yeah. When you think about that, do you feel into, like when you're at the festival and you're seeing this happen, what's the energy that comes up for you? Do you feel into like a kind of maternal energy, or do you feel into like a boss energy? Like what's the Blake Shine that comes out for you?
Daddy, for sure. So, and I think, because first it was kind of more feminine, mommy energy. You know, I was raised by matriarchy. I was raised by my mom and her other single friends who had daughters. And so that's very much just part of who I am. That's natural. However, what was unnatural to me was taking in masculine energy, was taking on that daddy role. And I never experienced that when I was just acting, when I was just learning someone else's lines, where I was being told to go there and stand. Being able to get in events and produce has made me like find my power. It's accessing a skill set that no one's ever asked of me. And so I've taken on this persona of daddy, and like that is my call sign on radios. It's an incredible thing to have grown-ass men call me daddy on a walkie.
That's amazing.
It's fantastic. I get happy Father's Day cards. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. I started getting happy Father's Day cards.
You really are. You're living that Dom life, and I
living that. Yeah.
That's what I'm saying about like I know like Blake Shine Free Spirit, like always game to talk and like to share and indulge in like all the stories, and then I see and I'm like, oh, she's working, and it's a different energy. That's why I asked that question. But it's that is actually what so much of the theater acting training actually invites us to understand about ourselves, is that we are more permeable. More mercurial than we realize.
100%.
So I want to read. I have not read this yet because I wanted to indulge live. This is the book I found on the street that's changed my life. So I'm looking at our Leo here. It's the first day of Leo season.
What day is it? I think it is. Oh yeah,
perfect.
I think it is. Yeah.
I mean, so we have the week of authority. That is your week, of course. The week of authority, Leo 1. And me, it's the week of charm, Scorpio 3, of course.
Oh, there she is.
Our day is fitting and proper. The advice is don't try to play God. Be more open and forgiving. Beware of succumbing to the dark side. Power may have to be relinquished. Foster kindness. So, in your experience of, I know this is particular to our dynamic, but let's talk about playing God, power. Have you ever experienced, like, in this daddy energy, has there been a moment where you're like, oh shit, like, how to check myself? Like, because I know I literally play God for a living, that's my job.
That's your job.
Have you ever experienced a moment like that where you felt like, this power, what do I do with this great power?
Totally. A big thing that I've been grappling with, and I think that I'll continue to grapple with through my life, is ego and what power can do to your ego. Especially because, like, coming from a theater performative background, you try to find this balance of trying to be humble to being like, hey, we're all deserving. We've all worked our asses off, but also like, I deserve this more than you. Because
end of day, like, please put me in the center of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Like, but so it's like, it's finding this weird balance, you know? And so it's like, you need to think that you're the best going into these auditions, even though you're like, yeah, but everyone else is told they're special. Everyone else is special. And so coming now into positions of quote unquote power, you know, we're all powerful.
Yes.
But in a position where I'm trying to run things, I see it come up. You know, this, oh, I'm cool.
Yes, yes.
Oh, people need me.
I made this.
Yeah. And
it's true, but also, yes.
Totally. And it's validating. I mean, when you're a younger kid, you want to be cool so bad. You want to be needed, you know? And as an actress, you're taught you're expendable, you know, because there's so many people doing what you're doing.
Yes.
And so coming into this role, it's like, oh, there's not a ton of people doing what I'm doing. Kind of found this cool niche. And feeling that, like, that ego and that power and that, that sense of cool, 100% have to check myself. And honestly, I have really great friends who've been checking myself too. Good. And being like, hey, you know how you kind of steamrolled through my idea? And like, oh shit. Yeah. Thank you. Let's rewind this. Cool. Yes. What did you want to tell me?
Yes. That's beautiful. And the beautiful thing is that you're noticing this, like, you're still a young person. Like, there are examples of people who have let this play out, and we see where they turn out. And to be at the beginning of your career being like, okay, I can see this. I can see this dynamic and how easy it is. How addictive, it's a drug, you know, to get that hit of like,
oh yeah,
I know everyone, they don't know me, you know, like whatever kind of thing. So, and also I think it is important to note that, like, when you go from this power depravity of like being an LA actress, that like, that's, I think part of why Hollywood can be so sick is because there's such a, like, you're nothing, you're everything.
Yes. Yes. And it happens so quickly. Yeah. You know, you're not prepared. No one teaches you how to deal with that power responsibly. You're not taught that in acting class at all.
Okay. So what's really fun for me is that I was really able to witness this journey, this incarnation. So I was able to witness the Blake Shine who I met, who was primarily as a performer. And then there was this moment where you were like starting to do events for others, and you were like, I met you for coffee, and you were like, I'm taking the plunge. I'm just going to start producing my festivals. Like, I'm going to become a festival producer. And I just remember you on that edge of like, oh, I'm scared shitless actually. Like, L'Chaim, I'm like terrified. Woo! I want to hear, what was your experience of learning, and what has been your experience of learning to take those leaps in life?
Oh, yeah. That's a real fucking good question. So what I found out is that it's hard to take these leaps of life, at least specifically for me. I can only speak for myself, because I'm such a direct line of energy person. You know? Oh, I've decided I want to be an actress. Cool. I've dedicated 10 years to that. You know, and so when you take leaps, it's hard to be like, am I giving up? Is this risk going to be worth the reward? Is this possibly going to happen again? If I take this risk again, am I going to spend another 10 years investing myself in something and then realize, hey, now I also want to do something else? Yeah. And so it's like this concept of like, do I feel strong enough about this to veer off my path? So I believe in power of word association. And so I don't think it's veering off your path. And that took a very long time to get that outside of my head. Yes. And now I say I've just widened my path. I've widened my path to include skills that I didn't know that I had. Mm-hmm. And whereas it does make it a little bit more difficult because now I'm not sure of what I'm doing, I'm now realizing that it's okay to not be sure, because I mean, 18, when you go to college at 18, that is such a fucking young age
and most
to be asked like, what you want to do.
Totally. And like, I just posted a video of myself as a baby, like in Alice in Wonderland. Like most of us who do acting or any creative art, like decided when we were like 4, actually. Yeah,
totally. And like, you decided for so long.
Mechanisms. Like so often it's a survival mechanism or it's a fantasy that you saw in a movie. And then it's like, I love what you said about it just widened and you just gained more skills that you didn't know you had. In my experience, I always try to recall and remember and feel into the fact that like having the humility of the, like being part in the dance of the universe, we can't know where we're going to end up and what we're going to be doing, but we can know what we have. We can know how. We can know our gifts. And so I always say, like, I don't care how they are expressed. They just need to be expressed. Like I need to be in my greatness. And it's like we are never ever separated from what our greatness is. And I think the fear is, oh, I'm not going to be like on the path of expressing myself. But it's like trusting that there is absolutely, the only lie that we can get caught into is the delusion that there is a way to do a thing.
Yeah.
It's like,
oh yeah.
And it's always been given to us in a very narrow way, like your Harvey Weinstein's like sex slave, which turns out was never the dream, you know?
No. And like with acting, I was like, okay, cool. Got to take this acting class. Got to get this agent. Then you get a co-star role. Then you get this. Then you're famous. Exactly. There's like these weird steps. And they're like, okay, cool. There's a formula, which makes you feel safe. But then when you start following the steps, it makes you feel less special because you're like, well, isn't everyone doing this?
And it doesn't fucking work for those of us who actually are true to our integrity. Like, no shame to those who are type A, really good at the matrix.
And if you're rocking that, more power to you.
Continue fucking onwards. But if you're like, if you're an actual innovator and like you can't really handle that and you don't want to feel like you're in school for the rest of your life, it doesn't fucking fit. Like, it just doesn't fucking fit. That fear game. You're being given fear by people who are in fear. Mm-hmm. So we're on the other side of that. But so what I love to hear, and of course it shows up, right? It pops up. But what I love to hear is that this like and you said the power of words and just reframing it for yourself, letting go of that storyline, that there is any way to get off your path while you're in alignment with your purpose, with what drives you. So when you think about the through line, when you look at the Blake who would show up at a new school and be like, funny girl, and like develop those skills and like love it. Mm-hmm. To the one who's like telling stories, to the one who's an actress, to the one who's a comedian, to the one who runs these events. When you look at the through line, what is it that drives you? What's your great curiosity in this life?
Both. There's a variety of things. One is I love people. From a very young age, I would see a social situation and be like, understand it, and then adapt to it. I love people. I love discovering why people are the way that they are, what makes them tick, and you adapt your conversation to them. You adapt who you are to them. And whereas that was a coping mechanism, it grew to be fascinated with people, which then developed into acting and taking on other characters.
Yes.
Which has now developed into seeing a festival scene and seeing what people are getting from it and what they need now. Yes. And we need more than music now.
Yes.
Music festivals, you can't just be music anymore. There has to be other things because they are transformative events right now.
Yeah.
And so it's been this through line of I love being around people, and I love entertaining people, whether that's being an actress, whether that's making a party special. My mom says that I make mundane things special. That's what she said.
You do. You are. That's why when we went on the Zoom, I was like, we are the festival. We are the festival. Like, you are like, you bring that sense of, I got you, and we're going to have a great time. And you bring that. And it's almost like you're like this experiential social psychologist who like curates these events, except it's not like sitting in a workshop being like, I'm going to do a meditation on my shadow and then read about it. You're like, we're just going to have an amazing weekend. You're going to follow this and you're going to be given permission to follow your fucking instincts. Like,
Permission is a huge thing.
And I think the thing is, like, for those who have not like experienced festival life, I'm kind of like an eye rolly person, you know. That's why I do this, because it's like I love it all, but I also make fun of it, which we do.
You have to.
We're skeptics, right?
Yeah.
So before I was like in festival life, I saw from the outside, and when you look at the pictures, you're like, okay, cute, like Technicolors and everyone's hugging, like fine.
Totally.
When you fucking feel it, and you're in that environment where you're like, oh shit, you know what? Actually, this is not a place to be anything. This is a place to just allow myself, my kid, to do whatever the fuck she wants, and I'm surrounded with people who are actually open. Because I was thinking about it this morning, you know, like in church, like people love to be perverse because it's like, we're not allowed to talk about sex, let's talk about sex. In the light worker community, the shit talking is like so delicious for people, because they're like, well, you know, actually, she actually only skipped her Kundalini training, and because they're not allowed to talk shit, right?
Oh yeah.
So it's like, if you're not allowed to talk shit, it becomes fun. So light workers are the biggest shit talkers, but there's a certain group of like people who are on their Spirsonal path who are actually just about fucking letting people be the freaks they want to be, and that's where my party is, and that's the kind of environment that you actually curate.
Yeah, I mean, before I went to festivals, I looked at them and I was like, what, raves? Cool, everyone's just paying a hell of money to go take a bunch of drugs outside and get dirty. Like, nah, I'm good off that.
That is,
you know, and honestly, that is that for some people, and it is their escape, because they can't do that because of their personal life, their religious background, their job, whatever. They need a weekend where they literally can lose their shit and take a bunch of drugs and just dance. And you know what? Cool. If you get that, more power to you. Yes. However, they can be incredible experiences if you are open to it, if you go searching for it. And so I'm trying to make it easier for people so you don't have to search for it. Like, you want a little safe haven to like explore yourself and do some drugs, but also like remember that childlike sense of play and get rid of those mundane conversations of what do you do, but more ask, who are you?
Yes.
Versus like those monotonous, like, so where are you from? What do you do? You know, those.
Yes. Okay, girl. So this gets into the shit right here, because when you come back, I think a lot of people, you know, that's the reason why people do like burning detox parties. When you go back into your normal, quote unquote, normal life, and you are finding there's that feeling of maybe everyone's conforming, or everyone's a little dulled or bored or fearful, what do you do to like shake up an environment? Like, how can we bring that energy into the everyday? And do you do anything to like feel that energy or open people up a little in the very normal world?
Yeah, of course. I shift my conversations. I shift what I ask. I shift how I check in with people as well. And the thing is like you said, like with light workers, like they talk shit and stuff. There's a lot of judgment also like in this festival community. Oh, you're not woke enough. Oh, you know, and holding it against people if they're not open to festivals. So I really try to be an open vessel that if people are skeptical to Burning Man, if people are skeptical to festivals, not like slam it down their throats of like, oh man, you got to go. It's so sick. You're missing out. But really give them like my view on it and be a person that people can ask about it. You know, if it may not be their thing, and suggest maybe here in baby steps away if you really want to reintegrate some new sort of things into your lifestyle.
Yes.
So I really try to be that, because I have a ton of friends who festivals are not their thing, who don't come to my festivals, you know?
Yeah.
But but I see them reaching out to me if they want to learn how to talk about conflict differently.
Yes.
You know, if they want new suggestions on what kind of music maybe, or how to give gifts better, you know, how to give a more innovative gift. And so
yes. Okay. I need to bring this, because I feel while we're talking, what's really coming through is this lack of judgment. And we know all external starts internal. How have you, or how do you work with judgments that come up? Like, is there a particular one that you've been able to release in the COVID time? Or what's your experience with feeling your own self-judgment and working with that?
In regards to like me judging other people, or other people judging me?
What I'm saying is that I'm hearing is that like you stand by and you actually enact a great deal of non-judgment towards others. And that's why people feel comfortable to like not only feel free in your presence, but also like come to you with questions about like how to like open themselves up. Like you really stand in non-judgment of others to a great degree. And And I wonder how your relationship is with yourself, with judgment, when it pops
Oh,
up
yeah.
against yourself. How do you work with it?
It varies. Right now, I'm trying to have a lot of compassion for myself. I think right now more than ever, we're realizing like life is very hard, and it's very unpredictable. And a lot of people go about a lot of different ways to make themselves feel better about being alive. Sometimes it's eating healthy, sometimes it's religion, but it's people lean onto things that make them feel better about being alive and make it less scary.
Yes.
And so really learning to have compassion for people who have different lifestyles. For some reason, that is easier for me having compassion for myself. So that's actually something that I've been working on a lot. And this concept of, I thought that I would be here by now. That's something that I'm grappling with right now. We all have these concepts of, oh, wow, I thought by this age I had already accomplished this. I thought that I would be married by now. I thought that I would be famous by now. And kind of pivoting my viewpoint from a race to more of a marathon, and I think I was reading this like really trippy acid quote, but it's like, there's a very stereotypical, like, it's not about the destination, man, it's about the journey.
Yes.
But like these preconceived notions that I had as a child, being like, I set this for myself.
Yes.
So that means I can erase them
1,000%
for myself.
It's so funny. It's like, it's just when you know that you are expecting and doing and performing for some external, like one day I was like, what am I waiting for, like a phone call from God? Like I keep checking my phone as if there's going to be this ultimate validation. And that is never going to fucking come. It's like, that is the hard pill to swallow of like, no, we got to sit with ourselves and get good with this girl right here. Because there's no moment that you're like, oh, and now she's validated.
Yeah, and now I've accomplished it.
Yeah.
And also like set up small victories for yourself. Like if I can't accomplish getting famous or whatever the quote unquote, because it's not famous at this point, but it's something, some sort of validation.
Yes.
Then what are the small things that I can do?
Yes.
Today. I could call my mom because I know she's been waiting days for me to call her and sit on the phone a little bit longer than I would normally do just to give her that time. I'm going to cook my,
I think that a big root, one of the, so we hear the like, new girl, not like feeling super trim, like challenge of youth, making you feel like you needed to find the funny.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I also know, because we share this, that you get a lot of your comedic inspiration from your relationship with your mother. She sounds like an amazing lady. I want to meet her one day. I cannot wait, actually.
She's fab.
Tell me about like, and you can share as much or as little as you feel comfortable, but what has been like the rose and the thorn of your particular mother-daughter dynamic? Because listen, boo-boos, the closer you are with your mother, the more thorny that shit is. It's like the love and the hard comes together. So yeah, what's been the rose and the thorn of that relationship?
Oh, incredibly easy. How much she believes in me as an actress. She has believed in me from the beginning. Put me in acting school, worked multiple jobs so she could pay for that acting school, come to every one of my performances. She sat front row when I was in the Vagina Monologues, where I did 36 different orgasms, and she just sat there, was so proud of me. Just like a gem, like never asked me to have a plan B. Ever. Always been like, and whenever I'd spend money on a plane ticket or go anywhere, she goes, yeah, but couldn't you be putting that money into like an acting class? And I'm like, so, rose, thorn, now that I have widened my path, and I'm on not necessarily that trajectory of like, get a commercial, get an agent, get into a feature film, she keeps being like, yeah, but what about acting?
Yes.
Because she's believed in me I'm 31 now. She's believed in me for, 25 years. I started acting when I was 5. That like I've been so concerned about letting her down. Because she has these conceived notions of she wants to be young enough to enjoy my success. And so now that I've somewhat started all over again in a different field, she's concerned that she's not going to see my huge success in her lifetime.
So interesting how the internal judger that you were speaking about working with is so rooted in that mom. And we are all as a generation grappling with this because the structures that supported the boomers do not support our gens, the millennials and beyond. We live in a different paradigm. And so it's hard for them to get that, and they
Yeah,
might not ever
totally.
get that, right? It might take a lot of ayahuasca for anyone's mom to get that.
I know. After I did my first sitting with ayahuasca, my mom's like, I think I need to do it.
Amazing. I love that she said that. Is she going to do it?
I've looked into a couple different things for her. So
There's someone in Costa Rica that feels very safe for moms.
yes, exactly. Yeah, I was like, Mom, if you're
like
gonna
the psychologist around, just like the left brain, right brain situation.
Yeah, because I did it in Malibu, and I told my mom, like, Mom, if you're gonna do ayahuasca, we gotta give you like the full experience. We're sending you to Costa Rica.
Yes, I love it. Opposite of my mom, who like optioned to like get me a boob job, but she was like, but we're gonna like travel to like Mexico. Like she was like, let's go to like a not like good. Like I was like, no, boo. Like if you're gonna offer a boob job, it's in Beverly Hills.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get that shit done well.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, darling, I'm gonna pull a goddess card for you because I'm just like this whole time I've been shuffling these bitches. I keep them in a box because they're like really hot, and so we don't want them like just floating around my apartment.
Of course.
Yeah. But I do want to pull one and see what comes up for you.
Okay.
Okay, so just feeling into the energy right now. It's not science, it's art. Okay, cutie, we got fertility.
Oh.
It's the perfect time for you to start new projects, access new ideas, and give birth to new conditions. How does that resonate?
I mean, I just launched a new company.
Oh! Can we talk about it? What is it a secret? Can we tell?
No. Oh yeah. So I mean, COVID hit hard. COVID, took away every single contract I had for this year, and then I had knee surgery, and so I have been grappling with like, who am I when I'm not on stage performing, when I'm not building a stage, like, and it was rough for a couple months there. And so realizing that my skills don't fully translate to digital events, I was like, okay, what's the in between? How do I still immerse people in digital events? So I designed these deliverable thematic party packages.
All right.
So I just launched them this week. It's called Of the Night, which is named after Queen of the Night, which is a flower that blooms only once a year at a full moon in the desert.
Look at the moon and the flowers.
Yes. Hi. Yeah. And each package comes with something to drink, something to eat, elements of decor, costumes and accessories, list of curated activities, and a playlist.
That's so brilliant.
Yeah, so they're different themes.
It's like you get a little party in a box, and you can you can gift it to a sad friend.
Yep. And then we have birthday add-ons. You can have it theatrically delivered by a character actor. Yeah. And so we released our first couple themes. One was dinner with garden gnomes, a 90s slumber party, and then a psychedelic package.
This is brilliant. So when you are partnering, because I know that you obviously you have to bring together greats, and there's Dante there, who's part of the team.
There is my boy Dante.
In different iterations. When you feel into like collecting the team of people to create things with, what's like your process? Do you just sort of like let the ideas come? Do you like how do you collect a great team?
I'm a huge believer in collaboration, and this concept that like I can't do any of this alone. Mm-hmm. And like being out here in Portland, I will say, if Dante is still on here, being out here in Portland and not being with my team has made me realize how difficult it is to be this one woman show. And for a while, like, I thought I was going to be there. I'm like, cool, I got this. I'm a queen, a fucking daddy. I can do this. And I quickly realized that I can't do this without my team. And so one thing I like to invite everyone to have a seat at the table. And then it's up to them to see if they take it. Because a big thing in this industry and in any industry is there's so many creative people. There's so many brilliant people, but not a lot of people are reliable. So you are invited, but then it's up to you to also prove that I can trust you and rely on you, that I don't have to micromanage you or double check if I've asked you to do something. Yeah. Yes.
It's the show up quality. I think that's beautiful. And it does speak to the fact that like there is like the freedom and the flow. Like there's the freedom and then there's the hustle. Like here, this is a free space and let's see what you create there. And that is sort of the energy of Big Fire and the festival environment as a performer, which I've experienced. It's like, you're not going to come and be like, how many minutes and it has to be this and that, but you're like, you know, you want it to be an amazing time for everyone there. You want people who give a fuck
Oh,
to
yeah.
come and create at the top of their ability. And if not, like, that's fine. That's like it come at the level of your engagement. But for your core, you're looking at who really comes and like brings them their whole selves.
Of course. I mean, because in the industry, especially with where I'm at, like pay people what they deserve ever. So I always encourage people, like, get yours. Make sure you are getting yours, because none of us are getting paid enough to be here.
Yes.
So like, what can I do to give you an opportunity to make this worth your while?
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to try on a new job that you've never done before? I'll give you that opportunity.
Yes.
Do you want to do, like, what will make you feel, that like you're getting compensated in some other way that I can offer for you?
And this is the thing, Boo. It's like you're on your purpose, and purpose is that intangible that gets people to actually want to fucking follow you. Here we have Dante, perfect example. Daddy,
I know,
babies,
my
babies,
boy.
daddy. Right? And it's like, that's what you feel when you're in that festival environment. You're seeing these people fucking sweating. Like Dante, Michael Soldati, like the team that you bring together, they are all like in it. They're fucking working insane hours because they actually care. They actually give a fuck about what they're creating. Like and that's, as a cult leader, that's what I need to learn, because I'm just all about me. But when you really inspire people rather than force people, like, it's all about that inspiration. Can you like communicate that?
Yeah. Well, you encourage people to take ownership. This isn't just mine; it's ours.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're not letting me down if things fall apart. It's you're letting yourself down.
Yes.
And so I've really had to find a new way to navigate, like, hearing people's opinions, hearing people's creative ideas, because I was steamrolling there in the beginning. I wasn't hearing my team's ideas. And then they would tell me afterwards this incredible idea. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me that in the beginning? That's such a good one. And I go, you weren't listening.
That is,
that
is such a beautiful awareness, because I think, especially as women, coming into our leadership can be so hard that when we finally do and then we over fucking step, it's really hard to hear that. It's hard to get back to fucking take, because we're like, like, my whole life I've been trying to learn how to speak up, and now I'm yelling at people. Okay, I hear you. Like, that's hard.
I've definitely, especially when I've been led by a series of women too, and I've learned so much from them, in regards to like how I want to lead my team, but also how I don't want to lead my team.
Yes.
And I want people to feel validated. I want to make sure that I'm telling them that I'm proud of them, that I'm telling them when they're doing a good job, and acknowledging that, and encouraging them, and in calling them in versus calling them out if things aren't going the right way.
Each of these like events, or for you guys, is like 2 weeks that you're there, like building, like putting it on. It's like an ayahuasca experience in and of itself. It's like learning how to run a business on like in the fucking desert, and you're like 100 degrees, and like there's like mayhem, and there's like fucking people who are like about to lose their shit, and you're like holding them together. Like, it is like on crack leadership training.
100%. Yeah, you are. Why? I mean, I didn't go to school for fucking throwing a festival. Yeah. Like when I was throwing Big Fire in the beginning, I was like, what? Right. Yeah. What skills do I have to throw in an
Fire
event?
Fest, knowing how fucking hard it is. This boo is like, your Fire Fest, if it wasn't a failure, you're the real deal. So it wouldn't be a Blake Shine and Talia Brava like heart to heart if we didn't get into the boy stuff and like stuff. So I have a question, because I know that, like, we've all had our festival experiences. She, like, you meet someone, you're like, stars in your eyes, you're dirty.
Oh, yeah.
You feel like sexier than ever, even though you have no right to, because you're, like, literally covered in filth. And then it usually doesn't pan out. What has been your experience as an observer, and also someone who's in a relationship, of how to tell, and this is just like sort of a Cosmo Girl moment, there's a but just your on how to make a festival sexy romance live on if it should. Yeah. And how to let it go if not. What's your take on that?
It's really difficult, because I've also not mastered this yet. I've been punked. I've had men say incredibly lovely things to me at a festival, and I've fallen for it. And then days later, they're like, psych, it was just the drugs. Yeah. And it's just like, what? Work on your festival etiquette, man. You kidding me? Like, you can't just blame it on the drugs.
Oh, they always do. Even like real boyfriends. Like, what did I say last night on drugs? Like, you're my boyfriend.
Yeah.
You can't blame it on drugs.
I swear it's not the drugs. But I mean, the thing that you can control, and I think that's what you need to focus on, because you can't control them. What you can control is what your intention is. Knowing full well, do I want this to be just a hookup?
Yes.
you know, and not convince yourself of, oh, well, he's kind of doing this. Maybe he wants more. Oh, well, then maybe I do want more. No, being very clear about what you want. Do you want this to be something more, or are you wanting it just to be a hookup?
Yeah.
And I think that will help you navigate your energy, you know, because then you won't, if you don't need it to be anything else, then you don't need to be having those conversations,
and to be real,
you know?
And to be real, I think that's a major thing. It's like, you're actually going to a festival in huge part to learn how to be in the moment. And so it really, like, the energy of the actual environment definitely facilitates, can we be in the moment? Can we enjoy each other full on? And then can we actually, like, recognize that? Like, I think that it's like certain environments that you meet people in do have a certain already energetic around them. You know, you're not
yeah.
Match.com, you're meeting at a festival. And so,
you're already heightened.
Yeah.
You know?
And we're all living this experience of freedom to feel fully, which might mean, like, feeling like you're in love with someone and actually in that moment really appreciating someone on that level, and then not needing that to continue on, because it is unsustainable when you think about the environment that you're meeting in.
Totally.
It shift
well, and appreciating it.
Yes.
If you come into it without expectations, which is so much easier to say than it is to actually do that in the moment, like, it's hard to not have expectations. But if you really genuinely come in without expectations and you're like, what I feel right now is real and valid in itself. Whether this continues on or not, right now, this is a moment that I'm sharing with you, and that is fucking great.
Yes.
You know, it's like,
and
I
I'm
think
lucky to find that in a night at a festival, you know? Like,
I mean, I've hooked up with people and it didn't work out, and then I met somebody, then I dated him for 7 years, and I met him burn. You know, like, it really can go either way.
And I think the thing too is, like, for Talia Brava, cosmosexual that I am, so I need to have all the men in the multiverse fall in love with me, and then I need to find, like, my alien boyfriend to, like, birth Providence on Earth. We're bringing Providence here because of the travel plan.
Of course.
November 3rd, 2020. So cosmosexual, the only way we birth Providence is if I have my full true human girl orgasm, which is obviously an elevated orgasm than anyone's ever had to birth a new multiverse. We get it. Yes, cute. We get it. We're on board. But, like, the truth is, one of my storylines, like, along with the career storylines, it's also been the storyline of love and, like, having to let that narrative go. And part of it is exactly what we started in this conversation, is just changing the wording. So it's like, you don't look back at the story and say, well, it didn't work out because he wasn't my boyfriend. It's like, no, that was actually exactly what it was supposed to be, and it was beautiful.
That's a huge, huge thing.
Like another fail on our list.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Totally. And you just can't control what someone else is looking for. You know, if somebody came there not looking for it to be anything else, we're so quick to judge and be like, oh, well, fuck him. He wasn't ready for this, you know? And then it's like, that's not the point of what this festival experience was supposed to be, is now leaving with judgment. It's like, no, they came for their own festival experience. You guys had an interaction, and that was special. You know, it's like, again, that's why you just have to make sure that you know what your intention is. Yeah. And knowing that things will be heightened. I mean, there's that classic tale of, like, don't have sex on Molly because you're never going to be able to have sex again. It's like, no, I just know it's going to be heightened because we're on drugs, and I just can't expect other times to be like that.
You're hungry. I'm like, why?
Yeah.
You have a very well-stocked fridge.
Exactly. Yeah.
All these rules,
exactly.
too. All right, my darling. So I also did have a knee surgery. So it's a vested, you know, this is a conversation between two, like, kind of an exclusive dialogue between two people who've had knee surgery.
Yeah.
So being forced to sit, it's already hard to be isolated. It's already hard to be in a new city. All of it is hard. But, like, being forced to sit, like, actually is very fucking hard. What has popped up for you in that experience? And, like, maybe what skills or passions have shown up when you were like, I can't move?
Yeah. Good question. So much of who I am is moving. And so having to lean on somebody fully, physically. I mean, he had to help me move when I was sleeping. He had to help me get a glass across the water. I mean, grab a glass and bring it across the room. He had to hold my leg up when I was going to the bathroom, like, to really feel okay asking for help, which I realized apparently I'm not the best at. Yeah, you know, because I would get up to try and do it, and he's like, "What are you doing?" Yeah. You know, like, and I'm like, well, I feel guilty asking for helping. I feel pathetic. I feel needy. Yeah. He's like, you had knee surgery. Yes. Of course you're going to be needy right now. Yes. You know, and it's the same thing that we talked about, having compassion for myself and knowing that this is a moment and it's okay to be needy in this moment. And in regards to skills, I learned how to edit. I learned how to edit my own videos. Jason, my partner, calls it learning what your old people skills are. So when you can't rely on your body, what are things that you can do with your hands?
Amazing.
And so I was crafting. I started making these earrings that have earplugs attached to them. So when you're at a festival, you can just plug them in, and then they like hang down there dangly and really cool. So I started making those and editing.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love, and I think like just to circle back to the asking for help thing, like that is it's also just like beautiful to recognize as like a giving person that like other people like to give too. And like, hopefully, you know, like every giver should be with a giver, you know, otherwise the relationship doesn't work. So it doesn't sustain, right? It doesn't sustain.
Totally.
So to let the other person be a giver as well.
That was pointed out to me too, and actually that's great that you said that. Yeah, truly.
Good. Does it feel like a bit like you've had your relationship on hyperdrive going into COVID together and all this?
Yeah, I mean, it definitely, I think it put a lot of new relationships into hyperdrive. One, I've never lived with a partner.
Yes, many are experiencing this for the first time.
Yeah, so learning to coexist with somebody. And this is not even just living with people, because usually when you live with somebody, you have your breaks. You go and you see your friends, you go and you do other things, you know, so you have things to talk about. You know, it's kind of recreating, like, what are the things that we talk about, so we're not just having these mundane things, because there's no point in me asking, hey, what'd you do today? I know what you did today. You're right in front of me. You know, and so it's trying to lean on what my mom says about myself, making mundane, boring things special. How do we do what we were already going to do, but heighten it a little bit so that we still appreciate each other's company rather than just taking it for granted because, oh yeah, you're going to be here tomorrow and the next day. And
this is some old people skills for real.
For real. And it's just like, I'm in knee surgery. I don't have makeup on. I haven't showered in a little bit because I couldn't bring my foot in there. And so it's like, also like rediscovering how to feel attractive.
Oh,
you know,
and you know, it's so interesting because it's like going from the dating world to that, like, when you think about like
there's no mystery.
It's like how much time you put on to like how much thought you put into how you're to present yourself. That is gone. It's gone.
Oh yeah, because it's just like, what am I putting makeup on right now? Nothing. I can't go out, so I'm just putting it on to make myself feel better.
So okay. This is like coming towards the end of this conversation, but I want to pull back into this idea of the little party box that you created for people. What has been like, can you tell us about like one thing that you have done maybe to make like that feeling of difference, like date night, whatever, like a moment inside your bubble to make the mundane feel special? Anything you've done that's been fun?
Yeah. So my partner, Jason, wound up launching his own company as well during COVID. He launched this illustrations packs with these two other men. And it was a huge deal for him, and they built it themselves. And so he had a launch morning. And so I couldn't like take him out for breakfast or do anything nice. So he was up till 4:30 in the morning, and I just outlasted him. Because then when he fell asleep at 5 a.m., I like went into the living room. I had balloons hidden in the closet that I'd blown up. So I decorated this whole little archway with balloons. And then I made a banner, and I had a card. And then for Easter, same thing. I got Easter eggs, and I printed out all these little clues and things that had like actions that you had to do every time you found an egg, and then hid them around the house.
I love it.
Yeah, well, so just little things.
You do have this like guiding children energy, which is like you bring out the children in others, and you also are, you know, you're a big sister to a very little one. So there's kind of like a mommy vibe. When you think about that little girl in your life, your younger sister, who do you want to be for her, and how do you do that?
So both of my dad and I have a stepmom. So my sister's a half sister. They are both fairly strict, very type A brains. I am so lucky to have grown up with a mom who is imaginative and makes small things special, you know, and we didn't have a lot of money growing up. And so she'd be like, hey, do you want to have dinner tonight? Or do you maybe want to go buy like a present and we'll just get McDonald's? And I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I want to do.
Yes.
You know, and encouraging me to believe in fairies and all these imaginative things. And so I 100% want to be that for my sister, because I see that quality is not in my stepmom or my dad.
Yes.
You know, they're always telling her to grow up. They're always telling her to stop acting like a child, you know? And so when I go there, You know, I hug her so deeply, and I'm like, what do you want to do today?
I love it.
You know, I've told her since she was very young that we are fairies, you know, and that she's magical. And so about like 2 years ago or something, we were hanging out, and she just turned to me and she goes, hey, sissy, when I'm older, are you going to teach me how to fly?
I love, and that is such an important role. It's such an important role. Just
oh my God, it was magic.
And, you know, I relate because I do that with my nephew. I send him letters. I draw him fairies, and I tell him that I'm a witch, and I want, like, this is the thing. It's like we're relearning as adults how to tap into that brain. So when you see it, it's so pure and special, and
it's
just
so
to
special.
let it fly.
And it's like, why would anyone tell you she's 8? Why is someone telling you to grow up? You can always grow up. You can never be a child again.
Yes.
You know? And so I really just want to encourage her to be that, you know?
Right, so,
like,
yes. All right. Well, I happen to have a deck of fairies here. Okay. I can't help it. We're going to pull out the fairy card. Fairies. I do believe in fairies. A little girl in a park told me, she's 3 years old. I was like, are you a fairy? She's like, fairies aren't real. And I was like, do not ever say that, because we're all fair. We're fair. I had to teach a 3-year-old. It was a bit contestual. Like, her mom was looking at me from a distance. Like, what are you saying to my daughter? You're like fighting my daughter.
Yeah,
over the reality
sorry.
of
I'm just
fairies.
trying to instill imagination in your child here.
Obviously, I think it might be your problem that she doesn't like fairies. All right, I'm gonna pull one of these. This is for our relationship. Oh, these are a little bit disappointing because they're like images of light. They're not.
Okay.
Pictures.
That's okay.
The singer of Transfiguration.
Ooh. I mean, hi, Talia. Hi.
Take backsies. We love it.
We'll take it. We will take that. 100%.
Okay, my darling, as we move forward, you're in a new city. You've got a new relationship. You've got a new business. So things are moving, even though they might feel it's hard.
Yeah.
When you think about that word transfiguration, what is your greatest hope for yourself and for the world as we move out of this bubble?
I want us all to be brave enough to, like, be open to what's coming. I've held on to, oh no, this year was supposed to be like this. Can't things just go back to how they were? You know, and when this is over, that's okay. We'll return back to that normal. At this point, there is no returning back to what it was before. There is no returning to normal. And that is scary for people because we had already been on this path for so long. And so I'm trying to tell myself, I'm trying to tell my friends, the world, we all need to be brave and face life. That is it's a Charlie Chaplin quote, be brave, face life. And embrace what is happening and what is coming and take part in creating the world that you now want. Now that we've had some time to take a break from what it was and hopefully discover the things that we want in our life more. Now that we've taken a break from that 40-hour work week, you know, I want us to not be holding on to the path of being like, no, now I have an opportunity to really create what I want my future to look like.
This is
because there were things that weren't working.
Yes. This is the thing. We were given a lot of ideas about how the world should be and was. Yeah. And now we're actually being gifted power to actually choose what we want to create.
Yeah. And it is power. People are feeling scared and weak and lost right now. And that is 100% okay. I mean, we're human, you know? Yeah. So it's like, feel that, go through that. And then when you're on the other side, hey, we're here. We're waiting for you. What do we want now? Yes. So
I love it. That's a beautiful message. And yeah, in it is the fear and also the reality and also the invitation. Yeah. Okay, cutie. Well, let's open this gift.
Yeah.
There you go. So my beautiful Brava baby Mark has sent me a gift, which you're all welcome to do.
That's an invitation.
It's an invitation to be creative. To, as you said, with leadership, you just give the invitation to let people come forward and share their gifts.
Yep.
So, oh my gosh.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh, what is it? Oh my gosh.
I have big daddy energy. He knew
I needed this. Oh my god, what is it? Oh my god, what is it?
Oh. They don't really go with this outfit, but
I love them.
With the next outfit. And they go with my riding crop. Leather gloves.
Oh my god, that's so great.
Oh, yes.
I'm sorry.
Yes, Mark, you're a good Brava baby today, but not tomorrow. We'll
Oh
see
my
what
God.
happens.
We're not worthy.
Can you believe
I love it.
we have the best communities?
Yeah, that's really great. Ugh.
All right, my darling.
Yes.
Okay, so as we close, I just have one final question.
Mhm.
Do you believe in Brava?
Oh, I do. I do believe in Brava.
Brava believes in you. I love you. Thank you so much. It's always a joy to connect. Everyone
I
watch
know.
this on repeat. There's so much.
I love you.
Mwah, 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 mwah. Bye, Dante.
Oh, we love you,
Bye,
Dante.
Katie. Bye, Bert.
Bye, guys.
Love.